Look, it's a plane! It's a plane! It's Superman!
Help, help, Super Dan, where are you?
Did someone call for Super Dan?
You are such a child. Will you touch me with your 10-foot pole?
Sorry, babe. You're panini pressed.
I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough.
But I do think it's odd that Gypsy and her crew led us to the wrong Dan Glidewell for many years, including during this year as well. Meanwhile, she knew that wasn't the right Dan. Now the new Dan, the Dan that everybody believes it is because, he has the Springfield address. He has been at VisionCon. And all those things just magically pops up for all of us. Why would Gypsy out Dan now?
Okay. Now, remember how we've had a lot of people coming up to us saying that they saw the old Dan, the fake Dan, they saw him in Nicholas's appeal,
Yep.
right? And they're like, we saw the video. And we're like, okay, we'd love to see this video. Where's this video?
I had a friend, Dan Toaster. I saw the text with her. And then, yeah, people got strange after her.
The only ex she's ever kept in touch with, by the way, just for the record. Yeah, just so y'all know, that's not the only ex. Ken was not the only ex, but.
Hey everybody, so if you made it this far, that means you're interested in knowing more about Dan Glidewell. This is the real Dan Glidewell. This is an imposter. This is not the Dan Glidewell associated with Gypsy Rose Blanchard. This is a voice actor who has a criminal history in Arkansas, but no association with Gypsy.
Welcome to Parawomenradio. I'm Amy. Who is Dan Glidewell in the Gypsy Rose Blanchard case? Who is this mysterious first love of Gypsy Rose Blanchard? Was he her true Victor vampire? Maybe her Lestat? Well, tonight the truth will be revealed. Join us as we welcome special guest TricieLayne and her research assistant Christine from Canada, who have conducted extensive research on Dan T. Glidewell, or I should say, T. Glidewell, including some brief contact with Dan on the socials. So let's bite into this pickle and uncover the truth about who Super Dan truly is on this episode of Parawomenradio. I'm going to roll some credits while we wait for the rest of the GRB crew to roll in. Shout out to the Dragonflies and Replay crew. Are you ready for the holidays to be over? I sort of am. Be sure to give this live a thumbs up. Helps me go out into the algorithm party out there. Bring more people back to the party. It's just a free way to help me out. I know just by doing the research tonight, I know way more about Dan than I knew before, but I know about it because of all the information and all the direction that our guests tonight have given us. So without further ado, I have two people on. I have TricieLayne and Christine. Hello, ladies. How are you?
Hi, not bad. How are you?
I'm pretty good. I'm really excited that you guys are here with me tonight. Because not a lot of people know about Dan, and there's a lot of misinformation out there about Dan.
Yeah. Right. Is Trixie in here? I'm not sure if her mic's open. Oh, okay.
I'm sorry. I didn't see your backstage comments, so I'm sorry, ladies. I usually don't.
Yeah, no worries. We were just talking amongst each other. Hi, everybody.
So, hold on one second. When I was going through my intro, somebody said that I was breaking up my volume. Was it when I was playing the audio? Just so the chat can let me know. Was it the audio, or maybe you two can let me know, or was it when I speak?
It's better now.
It was kind of when you spoke, but it hasn't been doing it the last couple of minutes.
Okay. Okay. I am having weird things happen with my laptop. Like I'm having problems with the volume. Now I'm having the mic issue. Ugh.
Trust me, I totally understand, Amy.
It's almost too big for my brain. Okay. All right, so let's get into the Dan. But first, how did you two get into the Gypsy Rose case? Let's just start there. Or do you want to? How do you want to do this? Do you have some? Do you want to guide me through this, or do you want to handle like I do an interview with you? How do you want to handle it?
Completely up to you guys.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say honestly, Amy, it's your show, so I'm gonna let you take lead for sure, and how you want to run it.
Well, actually, I want you to. I'll guide the conversation. But if I go to a place that like if I'm like jumping ahead, or you want me to back off and go somewhere else, we can just do it that way and just make it like a co-effort. Okay.
Sure.
Sounds good.
Okay. So tell us, how did you get into the Gypsy Rose case?
Did you want to go
I'll let
first,
you go
Trixie?
first.
Oh,
Yeah,
me?
I'll let you
Okay.
first.
Honestly, at first, I had watched the movie The Act, and I actually was a bit of a supporter at first. And then I joined some groups and I started actually researching it myself. And then I seen how much lies and corruption there was, and I became a non-supporter real quick. And yeah, I basically just started researching my own stuff, and my main focus was Dan. I did a lot of research on Dan. I actually even paid for some of it, came out of my own money. So, and then me and Trixie came together. There was a group of us that were all together, and her and I went off and did some work alone. And that's how we started working together, really.
Thanks for becoming a dragonfly, by the way, Trixie. I meant to say that in the beginning. So, and then you two met. And how did you, Trixie, where did you come from on this case?
I'm actually from Springfield. I lived just a few streets down from Dee Dee and Gypsy for about 5 years. And I was working in law enforcement back then as a detective. Not the entire time, but I had just finished college, and then I started going to that line of work before I moved to Oklahoma and everything. And I remember slightly that this had happened. I had left for Oklahoma when it happened. So I wasn't around for it initially, but I had heard about it on social media. Now I'm back in Missouri. I'm near the Springfield area again, but it was not until right at her release that the media and social media just started going crazy about her release that caught my attention again. I was very annoyed. I tried to ignore it, which I did up until probably about June, I want to say.
Mm-hmm.
And at that point, I'm like, nope, it's time to look into this. Something just was not right. And I'm all about serving justice and, making sure the justice system is set right. I also have a personal vendetta against Dan Patterson. So,
Right.
so this is just the icing on the cake for that one.
Right.
So now I really want justice served. I want to help make a difference. In rewriting the justice system in some way, even, at least just improving it a little bit.
You want justice. And what is it that what is the problem with Dan Patterson? I know he was the attorney. No, the district.
Prosecuting.
Yes, prosecuting.
Yep. Mm-hmm. He gave Gypsy Rose Blanchard her little sweetheart plea deal, which he never should have done.
Yeah.
But Dan Patterson himself is very corrupt. He has been the prosecuting attorney for Greene County a little over a decade now. He even just got reelected again this year. I don't know how, but he keeps getting reelected. He is very corrupt. I'm actually a victim of his. I hate him with a dire passion, and I make that no secret. I would love to see.
Is it a little town?
I'm sorry.
Is it a little town?
Oh my gosh!
No,
I'm so sorry.
They actually consider Springfield a city, but it's a very small city.
Oh, okay. Because that can get really corrupt. I've found. I was a social worker in a small town, and I just know that a lot of the top officials were doing very illegal things. So
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Yes. Greene County has a lot of blood on their hands. And, you know, even after Dee Dee's murder and demise, it still continued to get worse, you know, especially with corruption. And I can't stand by and watch it anymore. It's disgusting. I live here, you know?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, something has to be done, and it's our right to talk about it. So that's what we're doing.
Yes.
Yeah.
So when you made the Dan video, what led you down the Dan Glidewell path? What made you want to know more
Probably.
about that?
Christine, I'll lead with that, and then I'll let you chime in.
I think I gave her a lot of information for that video, and she was super helpful with helping me. I have no idea how to make a video, edit a video, anything like that. So she was super, she helped. I mean, she also did a lot of research herself into it as well. There was a few of us that did research. Mandy helped us as well. But we did a lot of researching and working, and it took a lot of time to make that video, but I probably pushed her to do that video. I made her actually stop what she was doing to work on the Dan video, and I know everybody was waiting for it too.
It's a very good video.
Thank you. So
yeah, it was great.
Yeah, I wanted to make it kind of comical at the same time because I want to make fun of Dan. He's such a weird person. But what led me to Dan, I'm actually more focused on David Blanchard and one other person that might be involved. But right now, everybody has been so focused on Nicholas Godejohn and Gypsy Rose Blanchard and everything that they're doing and have done, that I feel like nobody has really focused on the other players on the outside involved in all of this.
Yeah.
And that needs more exposure.
That's so true. Yeah.
Because I think that will lead to a lot more truths that Gypsy Rose has been, you know, within this case, just in general.
Right. Yep, I definitely agree. And Dan needs to be spoke about. And it's funny because I was actually following the wrong Dan at first until, like I said, I did a paid research. I can't access CaseNet or whatever the website is because I'm in Canada, and I have no access to that at all. It doesn't let me go on the website. So in order for me to actually get access to that sort of stuff, I had to pay for it. So I did that, and how I actually found him was an alias name through the search that I had found him. I looked up the alias name on Facebook, and this other girl that I had actually argued back and forth with, we had argued about who the real Dan was, and she kept saying, no, you're looking at the wrong Dan, and I didn't believe her at first, but I seen she was a mutual friend as him. So I said, okay, now it makes sense. She is telling the truth. It was the wrong Dan. So I started researching the one that I paid more, and that's how it all came along. And then even the mutual friend, the girl that I seen on his list, we started discussing things together. We bumped heads with some things and disagreed on a few things. We don't still work together at all, but we went our separate ways. No hard feelings or anything like that. But there was just certain things we didn't agree on, but that was kind of the icing on my cake to prove, okay, I found the right Dan, and went from there.
Yeah. So I remember when this story broke, because it was Anxious Aunt that I remember them talking about it, like the real Dan
Such
Glidewell.
a good group, girls.
So
and I was pushing it at the same time.
It wasn't Gypsy Rose who exposed them. It was you then.
Well,
and they had it. Not that it matters. I guess it really doesn't matter. He's
Gypsy
exposed
confirmed
now.
it.
She confirmed it exactly. Yeah, because she went on Bree's Live and said his birthday. I found out the real birthday when I did the search. Plus, if you look on his Facebook by the alias name, he has it confirmed where his birthday is and everything. So yeah, then we got lots of confirmation on it being the real Dan, including photos and.
Yeah, and that was another link for sure.
Yeah.
So they did a number. I enjoyed talking about the Dan Glidewell, and because I think it is important to look at her first triangle. That
wasn't even first.
She loves a triangle, and
definitely does.
Yes, she really does. So now
Yeah.
what I'm going to do is I'm just going to like set you guys loose and you take us through the story of who Dan Glidewell is. Like how did she meet Dan Glidewell?
Go ahead, Christine. I'll sit back
Honestly,
and
there's been
listen.
rumors that there was another Brian man first, but I can't find actual proof of that. I assume they met through VisionCon because I can find pictures. I think it was 2009 and 10 that they were both at the same VisionCons. There's picture proof. So we know that they were both there at the same time. Not only that, Dan's baby mom acknowledged Gypsy for some, like an award she had won or a membership she had. I think it was the membership that she had won, a free membership for ever. I don't even know. But so there was actually a post from Dan's baby mom acknowledging her. Was it 2009 or 2010? Do you remember, Trixie?
2010.
Was it 2000? So,
Yeah.
and he tries, Dan and everybody tries to say he did not even know her then, like that he met her in, I don't even remember. I want to say
2011.
Right, 2011.
At
But
a
his
convention,
baby
yeah.
mom knew him, so I find it, a little weird for him to say he didn't know her. But they also did announcements for her, and they would stop everything just to, make an announcements for Gypsy. And David would talk about all the things he does for them, and all the charity things. And so they made this big deal for them. So you're going to tell me you don't know who she was when they like stopped the whole event for them? You know what I mean? Everybody knew who she was. So, so I put two and two together. I think they knew each other beforehand, and he's really trying to claim. Before I think she would have been 18, not even 19 years old when they met, when the event. Sorry, I'm sick, so my voice. But
So like 17, she would have been like late 17.
I think 18, just before 19. So she was an adult, but she was still a
18.
teenager.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she was 18.
Okay, teenager, but an adult. Okay,
Right. And he was in his like mid 30s. So still weird. You know what I mean?
Inappropriate but legal.
And she was dressing as a little child, disabled. So what attraction was there? It's just
I don't
odd.
understand that. I don't understand
Yeah,
that.
no, it's odd. No,
We won't
it's
touch
weird.
that. Okay.
No,
It is
so
weird.
it's weird.
Congratulations. Thank you, Laura Lynn, for buying a dragonfly. And congratulations to Irate Unicorn for becoming a dragonfly. So when she met him, is she I know there was an incident where she was found in a hotel room at that age with a man, but it was never identified. Was it Dan?
Right.
Well, there's a lot of speculation with that.
Yeah.
So there has been two people within VisionCon that have pointed that finger at Dan, but have not outright said his name, while others are speculating that it's his associate, Brian Rogers, who was also a part of VisionCon earlier on. But we have not been able to link those two directly together other than through Dan himself.
Yeah.
And even then, we haven't seen any activity between those two, period.
Right.
So
Yeah.
it's really hard to say who was actually in that hotel room with her.
Right. Maybe both,
We strongly believe it was Dan, just based on the fact that one of his associates as well, that he's been involved with for many years, had said that they kicked him out of VisionCon
because he was a minor.
So with that aligning with the same information, we're pretty sure it's Dan that was in that hotel room with her.
But later he got reinstated, right? He was allowed to come back because she wasn't a minor.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know if he ever came back.
Yeah, he was invited back, but I don't know if he ever went back.
Yeah, I've never seen pictures or proof of him being there again since that year.
Those crazy stuff goes down on cons. I had an incident that was like not good that happened at a con that I will never do one of those again. But I lectured at a Victorian steampunk type thing, but like a, what is it, comic book convention that they
something like that. Yeah.
Well, and you see, and not to turn this to David Blanchard, because I'm not going to, but while looking so deep into David Blanchard, I realized that VisionCon was so sexualized in the most disturbing way ever.
Right. No place for a child.
David Blanchard, the chairman, was sitting there promoting it as one of the safest conventions to join and, engage in. And I thought it was so sickening.
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
definitely not for young people. Yeah.
No.
Is there an age? No, I guess there isn't you can be any age to go to one of those.
I've seen pictures of toddlers there, babies,
Oh yeah,
any age.
Dan's kids were
Yes.
involved with VisionCon
Oh,
very
yes.
early.
Yep, I've seen pictures of all Dan's kids, and his baby mom. One of his baby moms is actually very much involved with VisionCon. Always was so. Yeah.
So they meet at VisionCon, and then what happens? How does Dan become the man? How does that happen?
Well, I guess apparently they somehow got each other's socials and started talking online. And I guess, I don't know, I think there was other times she was sneaking out, but the one time that she does actually speak about running away to his place when he got beat up at a bar and broke his neck and back and stuff. And she went to the hospital, and she had brought a bottle of oxycodone, I believe it's called. And I think she was trying to come to the rescue. She ended up going back to his place, which wasn't his place. He was just couch surfing at some friend's place. And when she arrived there with him, there was a woman there that recognized her through VisionCon as well. And they also knew Dee Dee. So she had called a friend and said, "How old is this girl? Isn't she a minor?" That girl confirmed on the phone with her, "Yeah, she's a minor. She's a little girl. I'm calling her mom." So the other woman called her mom. Dee Dee apparently showed up, threatened people, made a big, huge scene. And these people actually really had a bad taste in their mouth of Dee Dee afterwards, they said. But I mean, I get it too. They were older people. They're doing drugs. She stole drugs from the house to bring to these people. You know what I mean? It's not a good scene. It's not a good scene at all. Doesn't matter what her age was at that point. It wasn't a good scene,
Well, probably the dysfunction in the relationship really was on full blast right there, because when they were in public, they were really playing this
yes
role. So
Right.
their both of their masks came down, and they probably saw some ugly shit go down between the two of them. Because I don't think Dee Dee was a saint. I think if Dee Dee were alive,
Dee Dee
she
was
should
not a
be in
saint.
prison. So
Right.
yeah,
Yeah.
they
She
both should
wasn't
be in
perfect.
prison. So I mean,
Right.
I think that I could understand. I think that they probably were like aghast because they never saw that side of either one of them.
Right.
And they thought Gypsy was a child too. So
Yeah. And if it's okay, I would like to give a little bit of insight to my experience with
we lost
the
her.
Blanchards.
I'm sorry, what?
Christine fell off. Oh, Christine
Yeah,
fell
she'll be
off.
back probably.
Okay. If you don't mind, I'd like to give a little insight about my experience with the Blanchards and, my time around them.
Sure.
I did not know them personally. I have never approached them. I would never.
So sorry. I don't know what happened there, guys.
It's okay.
Yeah. So I don't know what I was saying last. So sorry.
Trixie's telling us about her experience with
Oh, great. Yes.
But anytime there was any time of a public event in town, they were there. They literally they stuck out like a sore thumb. They were everywhere, no matter what. We had seen them, my friends and I. We had seen them panhandle a couple of times outside Walmart on the corners.
Panhandle?
Yeah.
Yes.
Wow. I didn't even know that.
And I would like to clarify about that too, for those who don't know what panhandling is, because I know I've been asked.
I forgot to say, I really did forget to say at the beginning, this is all for educational and entertainment purposes only. This is all our research. We urge you to go out there and do your own. This is all alleged.
Right.
Okay, go ahead.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely what she said. So there was one instance when they were panhandling. I was in the car with one of my girlfriends driving down Kearney Street, and I could have swore that I saw Gypsy move her legs. She had turned a certain way in her chair. I swore I saw her legs move, and my friend actually convinced me. She was like, no, it was just the way she jerked herself. And I'm like, okay, whatever. But there was one instance in 2012, and Christine, I think she was still around Dan around then, especially a lot more than we knew. Her and Dee Dee, I don't want to dog on Dee Dee because I feel so horrible about her death, but she
Mhm.
is not a saint. She is
No,
not a
she
saint.
wasn't.
She was with Gypsy at the hospital. This one time I was there to be seen, and because I was about to have my baby, my first baby, and I overheard Gypsy threaten a medical professional for opiates.
What?
And
Yeah.
Dee Dee was in there with her, because I remember Dee Dee telling her in like the calmest voice, remember to say what I told you to. And Gypsy she was quiet, but she was mouthy back. She was like, I know, Mom. And she was very direct.
Mhm.
And, at that time we were at Cox South, and triage, the emergency room / triage, whatever. We didn't have like individual rooms where we were. There was curtains between us. I don't think they knew anybody was there.
I feel
Otherwise, how
like
did they not know somebody heard them?
her story about her and Dee Dee doing cocktails, the two cocktails together, like her mom would make her. I kind of believe that story. I kind of believe it. Now you're saying that they're, going to hospitals shopping for medication.
Oh, but listen to the rest.
Well,
there's more. Oh, sorry.
There's more. There's more.
As far as I know, they were denied. The medical professional, it was a male. I don't know if it was a nurse or a doctor, but whoever it was not like, they weren't amused by it. They were just like, okay. Because initially they were like, by law, we cannot prescribe you those here in the emergency room. You have to go through your primary care physician. It's a law that just passed in Missouri. We cannot do this in the emergency room. And she got really dark. She was like, if you don't give me what I want, I will say you raped me.
Yeah.
Somebody that had never touched her, I assume. I don't know who this person was. In the emergency room, I don't know what it's like, where it's like everywhere else. But here, all of the local doctors that practice rotate within the emergency room and work in the emergency room. So for all I know, it could have been somebody who has dealt with her before. I have no idea.
What did they say to that?
I have no idea, because my nurse came in and took me upstairs.
Oh, I would have been like, what? No.
Yeah, at that point I was gone. I dipped out. But I know the guy was not amused. He was not amused at all. I do remember that so vividly. It bothered me. I didn't say anything though. I figured somebody else would have heard it, or he would have reported it.
Or Gypsy did take all of her gave all her medication away, and Dee Dee was trying to get her to get more for her. I don't know. That's crazy, because they did have
that's another thing.
where they said they lost the medication and they tried. Did they get another script, or someone stole their medication? Didn't that happen? Wasn't that
someone apparently broke into their house one time and took meds.
Yeah. And see, that's the strange thing. She was hanging around Dan back then, who allegedly was buying Dee Dee's pills from David Blanchard before that.
Yeah, I heard that somehow David Blanchard was pushing them for Dee Dee. Or something like that.
That's Natasha Cooper's narrative. I don't know
how
true that is.
I don't know. Okay.
Wow. That's a
lot. But I know there was lots of pills involved, and even the people I interviewed myself that were associates of Dan, they said she liked her opiates. When she came to Dan's rescue that day, she had a big bottle of oxycodone, and so she was supplying him then for sure.
And that would be a perfect way to get somebody to run away with you. Be like, I got the drugs, I got the money, let's go.
Exactly. Yep.
I don't think Dan was ever going to run away with her, though.
I don't
think
know.
something she made up.
No. I think that he was maybe thinking of sending her off to his mom's place, but he wasn't planning on going with her.
So do you think that Dan, you said Dan was a man-ho, right?
Yes.
Oh, he is.
Do you think that Dan was Gypsy's first?
No.
No.
Absolutely not.
I've talked to another man she was with too. He tries to lie and say they only dated in jail, but I found some evidence on one of his older Facebooks of him calling her out in the comments from 10 years ago before she went to jail. So, and he was also on their Wi-Fi connection and stuff.
I thought that
So,
was 2009, way before when.
well, I looked at the screenshot yesterday and it said 10 years ago.
Oh, okay, never mind. My bad.
Yeah. So, yeah, it was just before almost her arrest, I think.
Was that Sebastian?
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you
Yeah.
feel like Dan knows what happened or was involved in any way?
I think they were all up
100%.
to no good.
Yes.
You 100% think he was involved and or knows what happened?
Well, I don't know why else Nick would mention him so much. You know what I mean? Like, how did
I mean,
Nick
they were
know?
in a triangle, so it sounds like
Yeah.
she was putting him up as like, maybe Dan didn't even do anything. Maybe he never even spoke to Dan. She was just like, well, Dan says,
Yeah.
she could be lying about what this person is saying. And, Nick has this disability. He'll believe anything. Oh, God. It's
Well,
so
if I
upsetting.
recall, she did ask like directly if she could have sex with Dan before they leave Springfield after the deed.
Right.
And she was very direct with that question, calling it out as Dan. But I think this is where my girls and I do somewhat differ in opinion on what really happened, and that's okay because I mean, there's so many different ways this could go. Excuse me. I personally believe Dan was just another pawn like Nick, but with a higher purpose.
Yeah.
He was the prize.
Not exactly. No, because I think she, Dan's starting to flip on David Blanchard.
Yeah.
And I do remember sending you that snippet.
Yeah, we're going to get to those in just a moment. I really didn't
Yeah.
know what all those are, so I just have them ready to go. If
Yeah.
whenever you're ready to go through them, let me know.
Yeah, anytime. For sure. He did call him out. He said they had involvement. He never implied what. And so I don't know, but it kind of, reading that kind of confirmed my belief that David Blanchard was very much involved with her, and he did sexualize Comic-Con so horribly. So it was kind of like a validation for me.
See, I have a little bit of different views too. Like, I think that I think it's funny that Dan and all his friends are really trying to point fingers at David now. And it seems like everybody else, like on David's side, points fingers towards Dan. I also know Dan probably had more motive than anybody to want to have Dee Dee gone. But I just find it funny that, when she was arrested, she was acting like they had no contact anymore, like trying to make it, the least obvious that they have any contact anymore. But even, I don't know, I just think Nick says, oh, I seen her friend Dan text her and this and that. So I don't know. I have a lot of weird feelings about the way it really went down.
Well, the beauty here is that you don't have to agree. I mean,
No.
I love it. I love
Yeah.
other people's thoughts and opinions, and you don't have to think like I think to be my friend. I mean, generally you have to be
100%,
an overall good person under that umbrella, but you can have different thoughts. And I mean, that's the beauty. I'm not a policeman. I don't care what you think.
Yeah.
Like I give my audience the information and then they decide. And I love that
Yeah.
you guys both differ slightly, but you can still work together, and it's beautiful.
Oh, absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you don't have to disrespect each other because you don't agree on something.
Of course, Amy, I'm quite vocal about my opinions. That's kind of
Well, yeah. And and I'm okay. I love that. I love when people are strong, and I love how organized and we present things. So you both are doing a great job in getting it out there, and I love you both have different kind of styles, because I was reading your page and I was watching your videos, but they're both very forceful, and I love that.
Yeah.
Thank you. So one conclusion I have come to recently, Amy, is it doesn't matter what content I put out there or what message I put out there, and at this point. It's pure speculation, even with receipts, because the way that I have viewed it is, with this case, there isn't one story. There is a story for every personality that Gypsy has created. And somehow it's managed to wrap itself into one case in one night, one action. I don't know how, but she managed it. And that's why there's just like one rabbit hole. You start to go down it and then you end up down 10 more. You start to go down another and you end up down 10 more. It's
So true.
been a never ending thing. You know, I've worked homicide cases. I have never seen one this horrible.
Right?
This one is just downright almost impossible.
Yeah.
Mm.
So
Well,
much
let's look
corruption.
at these I don't know what they are. So I just have them in
Right.
the order that you sent them. So we have Be the First, or this is Praxis Aurelius.
That would be the Dan Glidewell's account that
Yeah.
he created based on a character that he likes.
Yeah.
And this snippet was just him confirming to one of his friends that his birthday is on August 16th, which is the exact same birth date that Gypsy gave on another snippet, I think follows right behind this, on TikTok, stating, I can't believe I remember his birthday is August 16th.
Yes. Yeah. And people got screenshots of it and started putting two together. And that's not the other Dan's birthday. So, yeah. Oh, might I end? I'm going to add also Praxis has something to do with vampires. And it's Dan that likes the vampires. It wasn't from Nick. Dan is the vampire guy. We've got him dressed up as a vampire. He plays, like, even the LARPing and stuff that he did with VisionCon. That is all like, it's like a vampire gaming thing that they're all into. So yeah, and he's also into, what was it, White Werewolf something? I don't know.
Yeah,
But
that's in one of the other snippets I think I sent her.
Well, I can hear Gypsy saying to Nick, yeah, Dan's vampires. So Nick, of course, is going to be a vampire. I mean,
think she wanted Nick to be Dan almost, you know?
Yeah. And
Yeah.
here, I don't know what this is.
Okay. Yeah, so that's the snippet confirming it. And then that's where Gypsy was on TikTok live stating Dan's birthday.
Yeah.
That was our
Okay.
link, proving that we had the right Dan finally.
Okay.
Yep.
It was just our confirmation.
Okay. And so here's some talk about vampires.
Yeah.
yeah.
So, yeah.
That was a conversation Christine had with somebody who was in contact with Dan.
Yeah.
And basically he had her researching, what was it called? White Werewolf Vampire, Christine?
So, yeah, something like that. It some sort of werewolf, white wolf that he's into. I can't remember the exact name. I'd have to go back and look at it, but I have the snippet somewhere. But,
Right.
yeah.
And the reason why I found that kind of relevant was, because, Nick had this 500-year-old vampire persona.
Vampire. Yeah.
While
Yeah.
Dan is so head over heels for vampires, it kind of made me think, So this is where this comes in. He's actually having a conversation with family members about, a vampire this year, because usually he dresses up as oh goodness, Christine, help me out here.
Superman.
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 Yeah, that's where I got the Super Dan. And somebody said, "Oh, a vampire this year," and he said, "Got to change it up a bit."
Yeah, someone's like, "Oh no, they said not Superman this time," and he said, "Oh, yeah, switching it up."
Gotta mix it up a bit.
So
Yeah.
Super Dan was just kind of our little gag joke because
It's
he's so
very
excited.
funny, Super Dan. That's a funny intro that you did.
Yeah.
So,
But apparently people actually called him Super Dan. Like, apparently people knew him by that.
oh,
Yeah. So it's a real thing. It's a real thing.
So this picture is Dan the vampire.
wow.
Yes.
And
Yep.
I could have swore I saw somewhere that his character of a vampire that he was really into was in similarity to the 500-year-old vampire that Nick was trying to create. I don't know if there's any fact or truth to that whatsoever, but I found it so strange
Yeah.
that, you know, because Gypsy loves to mimic other people and their lives and take their stories as her own.
Uh-huh.
It kind of felt like,
Mm-hmm.
wouldn't that be a thick plot twist right there if she was doing that with Nick too?
Mm-hmm.
Just to kind of make him look like he's the Lulu, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Not to mention, not only is it vampires too, but oh, sorry.
Sorry, go ahead. I'm sorry. He doesn't look like a scary vampire at all. He looks like a nerd.
Yeah, pretty much. That's pretty much it. Yeah, he's supposed to be a super Dan. But I was going to say, not only is it like vampires and stuff, but I know a lot of Dan's friends and the crew that he hung out with, they're very much like into witchcraft and pagan as well. And I've seen them in like some Facebook groups that are pagan groups and stuff too. And we know how Bree and Gypsy did that hex and stuff on creators before. So yeah, I think all this witchcraft came from Dan's friends and stuff as well.
Well, wasn't she? Somebody said she was into witchcraft with Dee Dee. Or well, Dee Dee
Yeah,
supposedly
Dee Dee
did
was
that as
into it.
well, but
Yeah.
didn't she have like a book on witchcraft? I don't know.
Yeah, she has a
Possibly
hex book.
Yeah, hex book. Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh. And so here we have, what's this?
Well, that's a picture of Dan. Oh,
I
one of
know.
his mugshots, I guess, right?
Yeah, it's one of his mug shots. Did we?
Mhm.
Okay, I'm not on the page
Yeah.
that we're.
Yeah,
to
that's
see
one of
you
his
two.
DOC mugshots. I did try to backtrack. I think Mandy had sent me that, Christine. So I did try
Yeah.
to backtrack to see if I could blow it up, but it's not on the Missouri DOC
Oh,
website
okay.
anymore. So she must have found it in archives somewhere. So I apologize if it's really small.
Yeah.
It is, and I have a really hard time when I blow things up. Well, maybe I can get it bigger. There, is it getting bigger?
Yeah,
that's better.
Yep, that's better.
It used to be
Yeah.
on my laptop when I made things bigger, it got smaller. But I have a different setup here. So yeah.
Yeah.
Actually,
Okay, there we go.
there are people in the chat saying that they don't believe Dan looks 35, and that's okay. That's okay.
Yeah.
He's actually 50 now.
Yeah, 51, isn't it?
He's 50 or 51 now.
Yeah.
He's aged quite a bit, and I do
Yeah.
actually have newer pictures of
Yep.
him. I'll see if I can find them while we talk and send them over to you real quick, Amy.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Excuse me, you guys can see that he's.
So
I was also going
here
to
we
mention
have-
about the mugshot. If anybody noticed on the NPG video where he does the brownie video from a long time ago, that on the counter there's actually a picture of a mugshot of Dan that they photoshopped in on the video.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's on the brownie video on MPG.
Why do you think Gypsy let us believe and the real, like the Dan that's the voiceover artist or whatever, why did everyone let us believe the wrong Dan for so long? It was just easier.
I think Dan didn't want to be noticed for a while. I think it had to do with his kids when they were still, young children. Now they're adults. And I almost think he likes the attention. He's very narcissistic. And I think he likes the attention secretly and wanted to be noticed now.
And so, oh, yeah. And also, I wanted to ask about Dan testifying in court. So I'm confused. Did he or did he not testify in court?
He did, and he has told people that he did want Nick to have a fair trial and say that, he was into power dynamics and stuff with her as well, which one of Dan's friends have also confirmed to me that they didn't believe Nick got her into the BDSM because Dan's very much into power dynamics. But he did show up to testify. He did say, I don't think he's telling the full truth, obviously. He did say there was a sexual relationship and they kept contact through, I think, texting or whatever. And yeah, so he really did that. But I think it's all a part of their act. I think they're all just like, I don't know. I just feel like there's so much corruption.
And who is this pink, purple? Who's talking and who is Dan talking to here? Because okay, sorry, but I'm still going to leave two questions and you can choose whether to answer. How do you know her? One, you never felt compelled to find a way to get Gypsy away from the abuse. Two, do you think it's fair? Is this when she had a conversation with Dan?
This was actually my friend. Remember when I said in the beginning, the one girl, we had some differences and went our own ways, but she was the one that kept telling me, "Oh, you have the wrong Dan."
She spoke to him.
Yeah, she's in contact, and she's actually a friend on his friends list. She's a friend of his.
And
So yeah, she defends him. Actually, she kind of sticks up for him for things, and I think it's kind of gross, but whatever.
I'm having bad thought after bad thought after bad thought today. Everything is falling down on top of me. I wanna lie here on this cold hard ground and cry for a while. And I really don't care who sees me at this point in time.